like their life and death activities anymore. Yes. And officials are unfortunately just bantered and berated. And
yes, they are.
And that's what he pointed out,
Yes.
that when the students take this course and observe, they begin to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. Maybe we should put some fans in those.
But it makes you wonder if the
Absolutely.
students would have the maturity, you know, to handle
Yes.
any kind
And
of,
that's the other thing too, is, teaching them how to handle
maybe they
this.
should be seniors at least.
I love the Khan Academy article. Was interesting just because it was a question and answer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right,
they asked
yes.
some really interesting
Interview,
questions.
yes.
And of course, he has a unique perspective on, you know, where he's come from. But I certainly saw a couple math teachers going,
Yeah.
multiplication table, we need to, yeah. It was kind of interesting, so.
But it does make math go a lot faster if you know your tables.
Yes,
Right.
it does.
A lot easier.
We have two items in this section for board approval tonight. First is a College Credit Plus agreement. We have to have an agreement with every college that we, or that our students would participate with. And so while we always think of the local colleges and we have agreements with them, we broaden out. And in this particular instance, we're using Columbus State Community College as well. So there's an agreement there. And then an overnight student trip, a ski trip. It'll be next year. But Mrs. Keaton is always on time and ahead of time, and I gotta appreciate that. And so this is February of 2024, but we have so many students that participate there as well. So those two items for your approval.
I would entertain a motion to approve those two items as well.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Workman. Were there any questions? And didn't Ella mention something about the ski trip?
Yes.
That just happened?
70.
Yeah.
70 kids.
70 who are
Great
currently
turnout.
involved, yeah.
Amazing.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goloday,
Yes.
Mr. Workman,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann,
Yes.
Dr. Vernon.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. And we'll turn it over to our treasurer for fiscal services. That's a nice number.
It is, and I have shifted a little more of our funds into that realm. You won't see the fruits of that just yet, but obviously want to make the most of the market where it's fairly high for the things we're allowed to invest in. So we take advantage of that while we can. But make sure we don't get in a situation where we have to pull it out early.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into that kind of situation.
We're not investing in Silicon Valley Bank.
The retirement funds.
Yeah.
Sarah's did. So this, I feel like I say this every month. This isn't boilerplate in that the first line is you can see several tax advances hit our account. So you see $8.7 million in that very first line there. The final settlement has actually hit the bank, but I don't have the paperwork yet. So we're grateful to have all of that first half of the year taxes in place. And the rest of it, you guys know that we get foundation payments twice a month from the state, and it's always reflected in that line up there. And if you have any questions about this, I'll be glad to do my best to answer them, but this is a pretty boilerplate report that you guys are used to getting. If there's no questions on that, we do have two appropriation amendments. One of them is really good news because you'll see in 499 a safety grant amount there of $420,000 that we were awarded. That represents two different grants. One of them is 400 and the other one is 20. And my understanding in speaking with not only Mr. Schaefer, but Mr. Cedar is they've already got that sort of mapped out in terms of what we're going to do with it. So you can probably speak to that better than I.
Well, the $400,000 was a safety grant that was provided. It had to be very specific, and we wrote the grant in such a way that we needed to update or, quite frankly, put in new PA systems. Some of those are so old. They come with internal clocks. They come with internal displays. And so from a safety standpoint, if you ever find yourself needing to kind of lock down or go into different safety modes, there would be a visual representation in the hallways. The PA system would be integrated. And so that's how we applied for it. And all 8 buildings received that grant.
Oh, wow, that's what I was wondering. Wow.
Fantastic.
Jeez.
The other amendment you will see is for the principal's funds. This one never concerns me too much because that's non-taxpayer money. They've done fundraisers and other things, so if they want to spend it, as long as they're spending it legal, it doesn't bother me. So those 2 items for your approval, and you let me know when you're ready for the reading of the donations. Go ahead and do that first.
Sure.
Okay, we have 4 donations there. We have an anonymous donation to Twin Oak Elementary, $100 to pay down outstanding student lunch debt. We greatly appreciate that. We have a donation from Mr. and Mrs. Dave Culbertson of coats, gloves, backpacks, again to Twin Oak Elementary School. We have a donation from New Life Church of miscellaneous school supplies, gloves, hats, pants, and backpacks to Dan Emmett Elementary School. Another donation from Mr. and Mrs. Dave Culbertson of coats and pants, also to Dan Emmett Elementary School. And we have a donation from AMVETS Commander Mike Dean Sr. of a new American flag to Dan Emmett Elementary also. So we appreciate all of those donations. Thank you to all of those folks.
Thank you. And I would entertain a motion to approve those 3 items.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Were there any questions? Thank you for mentioning how grateful we are for those
Yes.
donations.
Absolutely.
Very generous.
We're a giving
Very
community,
good.
aren't we? Yes.
I think ties in very well to that Twin Oak presentation
Yeah.
about just giving back to the people of this community. We're very blessed.
And would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Ms. Regola Dye,
Yes.
Mr. Workman,
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann,
Yes.
Dr. Vernon.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. And we have our legislative liaison report.
I'm not going to go to all of those links, so don't worry. But I wanted to focus just on the HB 12 and SB 1. They are basically mirror images, but there's several concerns with these bills. First is the reformation of property and income taxes. And the Legislative Service Commission provided a fiscal analysis. And the loss in revenue for the state and local communities could be in the billions of dollars, is what their concern is. And also, of course, it would be a major hit on our school funding. And then also, interestingly enough, this could work in reverse and cause an increase in property taxes for some people. So tomorrow, unfortunately, I cannot go to the legislature to tell them my concerns personally, but there are some people that are going to go, I think, and tell them what, what we think about it, I hope. And then HB 3 authorizes a housing tax credit. HB 4 relates to business and financial institutions and the boycotting of those. HB 6 is called the Save Women's Sports Act. HB 8 relates to Parental Bill of Rights. HB 9 establishes the Grow Your Own Teacher program. It would be nice if we could just take a sprinkling can and do that. HB 10 continues phasing in the school financing system. And there's so many bills that have been introduced that I did not want to go through all of them. But it is a slew, so peruse at your pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like me to tell in an email at least to the legislature about anything?
Well, I keep, Gary and I are keeping pretty close tabs on some of those. HB 1, kind of dealing with the tax rollback and those kind of things. I think House Bill 920 is going to impact that. I don't see that going anywhere at this point because it does a counter offense to what you had mentioned. I'm really closely watching Senate Bill 11, and that has to do with the voucher piece.
Yes, backpack.
Yes, the back.
They've done some legislative work on that, and they've come out pretty clearly that if the voucher system goes entirely statewide over a 2-year biennium, it'll be $1.1 billion. And those are for folks who have never gotten any funding ever before. And so I doubt they're going to take the biennial budget in education and throw on another 1.1 billion.
So where's it
And
come
we
from?
know that's not going to take place, so that pie that we have normally gotten is probably gonna be sliced out. And so I think that's one to kind of watch, because I think that's a real, it's one that has certainly gained some impetus and steam under the auspice of school choice. And there's parts of me that's all about, I understand school choice, I can appreciate it. But we all have to play in the same sandbox, and the same rules, and the same this and that. And so keep your eye on that one, because some of the financials that are coming out of that are really interesting.
Yes. Thank you for adding that.
We have a number of items for board approval in this business services section. Most of them are facility use requests. And I won't go through and read every one of them, but they're really the use of the facilities, predominantly in times when we have people in the buildings. I will make a couple of notes, and every once in a while we do get some of these that are kind of at the back end, and I think I might have a remedy for that we'll talk about at some point in time, where I can approve those retroactively and then we can go back and pass them. But item E, there was a basketball tournament here early March where over 100 schools came to Mount Vernon from across the United States. It was part of the Christian Schools Athletic Association in conjunction with MVNU, but MVNU only has so many courts. And then of course we have the field house now. And together we brought in over 100 schools. And so they played for 3 days, they stayed in our hotels, they ate in our restaurants, and so just a neat opportunity for us to showcase Mount Vernon. And then, of course, you can see the other facility use requests. We do have an ESC service agreement that we do every year with St. Vincent and Seventh-day Adventist. And then we have an approval for a cooperative advertising with Meta for the purchase of 2 school buses. So those 3 items for your approval tonight.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the business services items as read. Thank you, Mr. Reed.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Workman. Were there any questions? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Workman,
Yes.
Mr. Golodine,
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann,
Yes.
Dr. Lynn.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Mrs. Getzmann's term has officially ended as the Ohio OHSAA update. And so no report there at the moment, right?
Report other than just piggybacking on what you had said earlier about
Whatever we hear
appreciating.
from OSBA even in some ways. So other than that, we don't have anything in this section for board approval tonight.
Personnel and certificated licensed staff.
We have one item for information. It's a job share between 2 teachers, and almost yearly we have teachers who, for various reasons, want a job share, 50-50 kind of a thing. And these are 2 middle school teachers, and they've done it before. And, we'd love to have them here all the time, but we understand that there are family things that come up, and so they're going to job share next year. Items for board approval tonight are kind of the traditional employment kind of items. You see the retirement of Pete Lyons there. We've got a couple resignations, 2 substitute teacher contracts, a supplemental contract. Item F is our audio media specialist, which we talked about last month. You're seeing a whole bunch of chaperones again for the Disney trip that's coming up. And we've had all those folks, FBI and BCI background checked. And then we have finally a pupil activity permit for a lay coach for freshman softball. Just as a note there, Cody is still in the process of finishing his pupil activity permit, so he's not working with us yet. And we'll make sure that he has that before he can start. Those items for your approval.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion then to approve those items as read.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Gulladye. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mrs. Getzmann. Were there any questions?
No questions, but I had sent a congratulations note email to Mr. Lyons, and he sent me a picture of his grandson. And that that's what he was going to do, spend a lot of time.
Good. Good.
If you call the roll, please.
Ms. Regola Dye.
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann.
Yes.
Mr. Workman.
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Dr. Bennett.
Yes, motion carried, thank you. And classified staff.
The classified staff, we have one item for information, just a custodial change. As we've kind of continued to shift and navigate folks in the district, we have a number of items for board approval tonight. You'll see some pre-appointment new hires there. You see some substitute appointment, and we do have one retirement. Margaret DeVillers is going to retire after many years at the high school. So we'll get a chance to recognize her at our May board meeting, which will be out at Twin Oak. But those items for your approval tonight.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the classified staff items as read.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Regola Dye. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Workman. Were there any questions? Would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Regola Dye.
Yes.
Mr. Workman.
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann.
Yes.
Dr. Bennett.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Board member comments. Mrs. Getzmann.
Well, I will start by saying I really enjoyed Twin Oaks' presentation tonight. It's nice to have kids back amongst
It is.
at a board meeting, so that's exciting. And again, I just want to say congratulations to Dr. Bennett on her OSBA Star Leadership Award. And
Thank you.
you serve us well, and you always extend and make sure we're at the top of our knowledge level when it comes to state policies and things that award us through Ohio State School Board Association. So thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Regola Dye.
Thank you to those who are still here and to those who may be watching at home. We appreciate it very much. When I went to the Forum Show Saturday, sometimes seeing children up there and performing with so much poise, it brings tears to my eyes. And I know that everything that the teachers do and our administration does is to help these kids succeed in whatever they want to do. And I especially enjoy when they announce what the kids are going to be doing when they graduate. Dental hygienist and one is going to be a firefighter. And then it's just remarkable. And we've come a long way, and that's thanks to the parents and the community and to our administration. And I give credit to the children and their families for what they do. So congratulations to everybody. And I told one of the cheerleaders, it's no wonder they do so well at state, because they were really awesome.
Thank you. Mr. Wood.
I too would like to thank and recognize the folks from Twin Oak. When it comes to service learning, it's really an opportunity where all the subject matter stuff comes together, and you combine it with the communications and the writing skills for the grants, and it makes learning relevant. At that point, it becomes real and memorable for these kids. So I want to thank the leaders within that building for pulling that together. I think it's a great deal for our community, actually. So thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not
Mr. Workman. Last but not least.
No, it was, every month I'm impressed, and it's great, like you said, to have the students back in presenting, and it's just so impressive. I mean, you hear them talk, and they're in 5th grade.
Good job.
I mean, there was a lot of memorization that they had to do, and they did it very well, so I was really impressed with that. But congratulations to students and athletes. So many thank yous or congratulations that go out to that. Such a wonderful time there. And also, last but not least, congratulations, Dr. Bennett, on your Star Award. So, well deserved. Thank you.
Mr. Cedar, did you?
I also am incredibly humbled when I see the kids. And I think there was a recognition when Wigan Street shared and just the power that comes from students presenting. And so now all of a sudden, I've got principals going, I want to try to bring our students and get them more engaged. And I think that makes it much more authentic and good for us. So congratulations to all those groups. We will have a special board work session on the 30th of March. And so we'll get that information out. I do have just a really short executive session on an appointment issue. And otherwise, another good board meeting. Thank you.
And I would like to also say how proud I am of our kids and how it just really brightens up our meeting.
It does.
You know, and to hear from what we're all about. So it's so nice to hear from the
And
kids.
to see the parents just smiling.
Yeah,
at their
I know,
kids.
it's to recognize them, because we know the parents have a big part in all of this, their support that gets them here and so forth. And also, just the Energy Fieldhouse, you know, I'm just so amazed whenever we go walk there, all the things that are going on and what a wonderful facility is and how grateful I am for our community. We do really have a wonderful community that's so giving and just really cares about our students. And so I'm very grateful to be a part of Montgomery City Schools and Auburn and community. So thanks to all of the community members for their support. We will entertain a motion then to go into executive session. And
So
you did say briefly, right?
Just briefly.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Goldie. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ward. And if you'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Golodai.
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Mr. Workman.
Yes.
Mrs. Getzmann.
Yes.
Dr. Vernon.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Where it goes.